Well, folks, it is finally happening. Pxie is officially suing Destiny in federal court for sharing her nudes without her consent. And since the lawsuit's been filed, the complaint has now been published online. So I'm going to take this video, go through the complaint piece by piece, really break it down and explain to you what's going on with this case, and finish the video off by giving my take on a scale of 1 to 10, just how cooked Destiny might be. But if you don't know me, my name's Scotty O, aka the Gen Z Attorney, and I currently work as an assistant district attorney in North Carolina, and litigation is my specialty. I'm in courtrooms all day, every day, and I use this channel to kind of break things down, put the curtain back, and show you what the criminal justice system and what the legal system generally is like. But without further ado, let's just jump right into this thing. Well, folks, here it is. This is the complaint. As you can see, it's 25 CV. 25 is the year. CV is the designation of an official court document. And we're in the U.S. District Court, Southern District of Florida, so this is federal court. And we got Jane Doe versus Stephen K. Bunnell II. Now, briefly, a little backstory on how we got to this point. Basically, Destiny is a very large and prominent political commentator and debater and live streamer, and Pxie is another political debater, live streamer. They used to collaborate with each other. They've since fallen out, which has been spurred on by the fact that she has accused him of leaking videos that they had together of a sexual explicit nature, of sending those videos to other women, which then resulted in those videos getting posted online for the world to see. She went public with that allegation and announced her intention of suing, which now brings us a few weeks later to the actual lawsuit. So let us dive right in. So here we go. Complaint to the Honorable Court comes now plaintiff Jane Doe, plaintiff by and through her undersigned counsel, very respectfully states, alleges, and praises follows. Very respectfully, thank you. Nature of the action. So this is kind of our introductory summary of what's going on. This action seeks to hold defendant accountable for his unauthorized, intentional, and unlawful disclosure and dissemination of intimate images and sexually explicit videos of the plaintiff, thereby causing plaintiff extreme emotional and physical distress, depression, anxiety, and harm to her personal and professional reputation. Plaintiff seeks injunctive relief, compensatory and punitive damages, attorney's fees, and any other relief this honorable court deems just and proper as a result of defendant's unlawful, extreme, and outrageous conduct towards plaintiff. All right, few words are jumping out already, just legal terms of art. Words like punitive damages means not just seeking compensatory, not just seeking to compensate her, make her whole. They're seeking punitive, aka to punish him. Of course, we've also got extreme and outrageous conduct that seems to be laying the foundation for potentially an intentional infliction of emotional distress claim. Essentially, conduct that is so extreme and outrageous that it offends civil society and done so in a way towards somebody such that it causes them. It's the intentional infliction of emotional distress. So yeah, that certainly jumps out. Other than that, just a kind of very general, broad introduction to the case. Plaintiff brings claims pursuant to inter alia, the Intimate Image Protection Act, 15 U.S.C. 6851, Sexual Cyber Harassment Statute, Florida Statute 784-049, other Florida laws pertaining to rights of privacy, public disclosure of private facts, and the intentional infliction of emotional distress. Boom, there we go. Extreme and outrageous, IIED. Just in the law, there's just these words that they just go together. So here we are. We're just kind of outlining the statutory authority we've got for the causes of action. So we've got a federal law and a state law, and I just punched those in real quick up top. So we'll get to those probably later when we get to the actual counts, the law as it's fleshed out in the elements. But as of now, we're just going to continue with the factual basis here. Well, sorry, before we get to our factual basis, we got to take care of our legal jargon. This is jurisdiction and venue. This is civil procedure, baby. All right, court has subject matter jurisdiction subject to 28 U.S.C. 1331 because the action arises under the laws of the United States, including 15 U.S.C. 6851 Intimate Images Protection Act. So real basic, Civ Pro 101. Any first-year law student could tell you this. In order for a court to hear a case, the court must have jurisdiction, and it must also be the most appropriate venue for the case to be heard. So on the question of jurisdiction, we've got to have personal jurisdiction and subject matter jurisdiction. Subject matter jurisdiction here, essentially this is arising under jurisdiction, just very simple, stating that this case arises under federal law, therefore a federal court has the jurisdiction to hear the case. Now, however, we have a state law claim, which right here, the court has supplemental jurisdiction over plaintiff's state law claims pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1367 because they arise out of the same nucleus of operative facts as the federal claims. So whenever there is the same nucleus of operative facts, that's another legal term of art here, basically saying something happened and it is covered under both federal and state law. The fact that you have a case under federal law means there is also supplemental jurisdiction for the federal court to hear the state law claim as well, because normally state courts have to hear claims on state law. But supplemental jurisdiction exists as a more judicially efficient way to try or to hear issues by just saying, no, we're just going to wrap it all up in one case in federal court and just go from there. So we don't have to have two separate cases, two separate trials in state and federal. Finally, we get to venue. Venue is proper in this judicial district pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1391 because a substantial part of the events or omissions giving rise to the claim occurred within this district and defendant is subject to personal jurisdiction in this district. So that's the other type of jurisdiction here. We got to have personal jurisdiction over the defendant. Probably the biggest way of establishing that is domicile. You just go to the court where the defendant is domiciled. That is, apparently this is where it is. It is the Southern District of Florida. So venue is proper because it is where both the defendant lives and it's also where the facts of the case happen. So yeah, appropriate venue. This all checks out. Good to go. Parties. Plaintiff Jane Doe is citizen of the U.S. and resident of Miami-Dade County, Florida. So sounds like she also lives in this venue. So even more appropriate. Plaintiff brings this complaint anonymously due to the intimate and sensitive nature of the materials which form the subject matter of the complaint. Yeah, I get that. Actually, I don't even know her real name. I know her online screen name is Pxie. But, right, I don't know her real name, and certainly understanding the desire to keep herself anonymous considering the subject matter of this case. Defendant Stephen K. Bunnell II. Bunnell is a citizen of the United States and resident of Miami Beach, Florida. All right, juicy time, factual allegations. Boom. Paragraph 8. Bunnell, known online as Destiny, is a live streamer and political commentator. He has over 840,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. He has a huge following on X, Kick, Reddit, Discord. Bunnell had over 700,000 followers on his Twitch channel before he was banned from Twitch in March 22 due to hateful conduct. Okay, well, yeah, that's a pretty accurate summation. Who is Destiny? All right, plaintiff, known online as Pxie, is also a live streamer as well as an influencer. Pxie has 15,000 followers on X, and on Twitch she has 10,000 followers. Plaintiff began conversing with Bunnell on the Discord platform when she was approximately 19 years old. Bunnell was approximately 33 years old. At the time, Plaintiff was a new streamer in the same niche as Bunnell, politics. So boom, establishing how they met. Approximately 2 years later, on or about September 12, 2020, after multiple conversations about consent and boundaries, Plaintiff engaged in sexual relations with Bunnell. Plaintiff was inexperienced and had only had physical relations with one other person prior to Bunnell. This was the only time Plaintiff and Bunnell had sexual relations. During this one occasion, Bunnell recorded videos of Plaintiff and him engaging in sexual conduct, the videos. So it sounds like the videos that were taken at the time, they were consensual, and you can see the foundation here being laid for multiple conversations about consent and boundaries, because essentially trying to set up the foundation now to say Pxie made it very clear what her boundaries were and what she did and did not consent to. So that way when we get later to the act of sharing those videos, we have the foundation already established that she had set up those boundaries, she did not consent to it, yet he did it anyway. So makes sense, just some very basic legwork that we're doing to lay out the foundation of the case. Unbeknownst to plaintiff at the time, on or about October 4th, 22, but now disseminated through electronic means one of the videos, to a 19-year-old woman using the screen name Rose. Rose was a random fan of Bunnell's on his Discord platform that reached out to him on Discord. Bunnell had never met Rose, despite knowing nothing about Rose and not even knowing her real name. Bunnell intentionally shared the video with Rose without plaintiff's knowledge or consent. So yeah, here we have the main thrust of the case, that the videos were created with consent, the videos were shared without consent. Seems honestly pretty simple in a nutshell. But unfortunately, it gets worse from here, because on or about November 29, 2024, the sexually explicit video of Plaintiff that Bunnell had shared with Rose was uploaded onto the website blank. Video was also shared on multiple other pornography websites, including blank. The caption on the video on the different platforms identify both blank, 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 blank. Okay. Probably just redacting for personal information, as well as to not identify the platforms where the stuff might still be online for people to go look at. Not that anyone watching this video would do that, but yeah, so far so good, all making sense still. Shortly after the video is posted, various friends and random followers of Plaintiff inform her about the dissemination of the video. Some of the messages are very accusatory. She is shocked, humiliated, and mortified by the dissemination of the sexually explicit video. Accusatory, that would seem to be referring to the notion that Destiny only, as well as you can see the pattern here, where he started talking to Pxie when she was 19, and then shared the videos he took with Pxie to another 19-year-old. And there's a notion out there that in Destiny world, the female streamers and content creators that are around him, he elevates them with his platform because they're having sex together, essentially. So the fact that Pxie had maintained for years that she was not sleeping with Destiny, that she had never had relations with Destiny, and he was not elevating her because of any of that, for then this video to come out to not only confirm that she did have relations with Destiny, but to actually be showing it too. I can see how some people would take that and start accusing her like, so you were lying this whole time and you were just sleeping with him to get his clout. Either way, as of today's date, the video has been viewed on the blank site over 10,000 times. It's been viewed on blank site 58,000 times. Had at least as many views on other websites, but has since been removed. Still on the blank website, but the site does not have a number tracker, so the number of views is unknown, but estimated to be in tens of thousands. On blank, there were over 10,000 views, but has since been removed. Okay. Establishing that this has been seen many, many times on the internet, and the internet is forever, so it will continue to be seen, unfortunately. On the evening of November 29, 2024, plaintiff sends a message to Bunnell on Discord expressing her horror that he shared the video of her. She asks him if he sent any additional pornographic videos to anyone. He admits his guilt, responding, "Ugh, there shouldn't be, no. I'm so sorry, there's literally no excuse. I've had phone convos and stuff with this person. They were fairly close to me. It's worthless to say it at this point, but I'm super sorry. There's literally no excuse." Plaintiff then asks him to delete any and all videos that he has of her. Okay, well, essentially, yes, we do have an admission here that he did send it to this girl. He's not admitting here that he's the one that was posting it online or anything, but he is admitting that he sent it to someone without Pxie's consent. 17. Leak of the video goes viral, is being discussed by thousands of followers of Destiny and Pxie on various platforms, including YouTube, Discord, Reddit, Blank, and Twitter X. Hey, that's us. We're discussing this on YouTube. Imagine that. Plaintiff begins receiving hundreds of insulting and harassing messages. Many of the followers discussing the leaks on the different accounts falsely claim that plaintiff exchanged sex for professional growth and favors from Bunnell. So yeah, that's kind of what I was referencing earlier, that she was sleeping with him for his clout. At least that was the allegation, which here she is denying. Plaintiff feels increasingly humiliated, mortified, and depressed, and starts feeling suicidal. On or about December 11th, she starts writing suicide notes. Plaintiff messages Bunnell, tells him she is just tired of living anymore. It's a matter of time until my family discovers what happened. I feel like the best thing to do is for me to kill myself and schedule a post just detailing my feelings on what happened to try and ensure a situation like this doesn't happen again. Plaintiff then unfriends Bunnell in Discord so that she cannot receive any messages from him. On or about December 13, 2024, plaintiff meets with Bunnell's close friend and business associate, Blank. I'm assuming this is not so erudite, because I remember reading that and seeing messages between them. Plaintiff tells her, so it's got to be erudite. Plaintiff tells her about her suicidal thoughts, that she cannot bear the humiliation and harassment she is enduring, that she wants to ensure Bunnell never does this to her or anyone else ever again. Turner tells her she will talk to Bunnell and tell him what they discuss. Interesting that Turner, they've got her last name, but I guess want to block out everything earlier, but either way. On or about December 19, 2024, Turner asks plaintiff if Bunnell has communicated with her or added her back as a friend. Plaintiff responds in negative. Plaintiff continues feeling depressed, suicidal. Leak of the video is still a viral topic of conversation on multiple platforms. Guilty. With people making horrible accusations about plaintiff, on the morning of January 2025, 2 videos on YouTube are posted by 2 different streamers discussing the quote-unquote Pxie leak. The video includes screenshots of private messages of plaintiff discussing the situation with friends and claims that plaintiff took hush money, only cares about money, and does not care about the other victims of defendant. These videos have been viewed by thousands, including one which, as of today, was viewed by over 90,000 people. The majority of the posts by people assume that Bunnell shared the videos with Bunnell's consent and knowledge. Yeah, this was this is kind of how this all burst out into the open, with these 2 videos that were essentially making public these allegations for the first time. They were not coming from Pxie. It was a bit odd that we had 2 separate videos get posted essentially at the same time on the same subject matter, with a lot of private messages that were provided to these people. But either way, here we see on or about January 2025, in desperation, plaintiff/Pxie goes online and announces that Destiny shared the videos without her consent or knowledge, that she will be seeking legal recourse. That same day, Bunnell responds on various platforms, including Reddit and Imgur, whatever, and falsely claims that video leak happened without my knowledge, consent, or authorization. Okay, I just want to stop right there, because falsely claims that it happened without his knowledge, consent, or authorization. Yeah, this claim directly contradicts his November 29 explicit written admission to plaintiff that he knowingly and intentionally shared the video. Yeah, I think that's not accurate. I think this is a misleading way of framing all of this, because his admission to her was an admission that he sent it to Rose. But from what it appears here, his statement is saying that the leak happened without his knowledge, consent, or authorization. So I don't think when he says leak, I don't think he's referring to him sending the stuff to Rose. I believe he's talking about how it started with Rose, but then ended up on all these pornography websites. If I had to guess, that's what I would think he's referring to when he says the leak, because I think we're assuming that Rose did not send it out to the pornography websites, unless maybe she did, who knows. But either way, this is, I think, a misleading way of trying to say that Destiny is essentially denying that he sent it to anybody, which is a direct contradiction to what he said earlier when he admitted that he did send it to Rose. So, not a fan of that, but yeah, I guess we'll see if that kind of stuff continues in this complaint. January 20th, right after the plaintiff announced publicly that she would sue Bunnell, one of his followers reached out to plaintiff and told her that Bunnell had sent the video to her sister about 2 months earlier. So, also contradictory to Bunnell's statement that he had not sent it to anybody else. Here we've got somebody reaching out to Pxie saying, yeah, he's sending your videos to my sister. The follower informs plaintiff that she believes Bunnell is still sending her sister sexually explicit videos of other women without their consent. On January 21st, aware of an impending lawsuit and potential criminal investigation, Bunnell starts destroying evidence, including deleting messages between him and plaintiff. January 23rd, Bunnell receives a letter from plaintiff's counsel informing him of plaintiff's intent to sue and demanding that he preserve all evidence. Okay, I'll have to plead some level of ignorance as to how Discord messages work as far as deletion goes, but I know a lot of messaging apps, you can delete your stuff on your end, but it still is saved on the other end. And even if it's not, usually the messages will be saved in an archive on the platform itself. So this attempt to delete stuff on his end seems not only not effective, if what I'm thinking is true, not only not effective, but totally inculpatory of his state of mind that, oh my gosh, I messed up, let me delete all the evidence. Which, right, seems like a really silly move because not only is it not going to work, but it's also going to make you look even more guilty. So yeah, probably not the best course of action, but hey, to each their own, I suppose. Paragraph 25. On or about January 23rd, Bunnell begins to publicly harass and defame plaintiff. Oh, a strong word there. Defame. That's a legal term of art. See if there's a claim for defamation later in the counts. Post in his group chat called DGG with multiple people that plaintiff Pxie is just after his money. On or about January 23rd, he also posts on his website and his DGG chat that, quote, Pxie and the people behind her just want money, so there's no point in going after the hacker. He's probably some broke loser anyway, so they aren't even mentioning him. Over 1,000 people have potentially viewed this defamatory post. So this seems to give some insight into Destiny's perspective on all of this, is that while he did admit to Pxie that he did send it to Rose, his main focus seems to be that the fact that it went from Rose to the internet, and that was the result of a hack or a leak or something. And it seems like, right, his main focus, which understandable, that he's trying to shift the blame to somebody else, which, yeah, if there's a hacker that hacked into Rose's stuff and stole all the stuff to post online, yeah, certainly that hacker is very culpable. But also, too, who's also just as culpable, if not more culpable, is you for sharing it in the first place. So, but right, certainly I understand why he's trying to shift the blame to somebody else who is also, yeah, understandably implicated and culpable in the situation. Bunnell's attempt to divert blame from himself and cast blame on an alleged hacker is directly contradicted by his own prior explicit written admission to plaintiff that he intentionally shared the videos and by his text messages with Rose in which he tells her about the videos with the young girl that he will send her. Okay, once again, this is misleading from counsel here, that his admission was that he sent it to Rose, and trying to treat it that his explicit written admission that he shared the videos. They're trying to equate that with posting them online, which, right, certainly this is no defense of sending them to this Rose person without Pxie's consent. Like, of course, I think that's, in all likelihood, that in itself is going to win the case for Pxie here. But it is also a difference. Him admitting to doing that is in no world him admitting to posting all the stuff online. So I don't like how this complaint is trying to frame it that way. Is that as if he admitted to publishing all the stuff online. He's only trying to obfuscate with smoke and mirrors and blame it on some unknown anonymous hacker that no one cares about. So but maybe that's just personal preference in the way I'm reading this. All right, 28. Bunnell continues defaming, or there's that word again, defaming, and harassing plaintiff on his website. DGG chat implies that plaintiff is trying to milk him and that she's not going after anybody else that might allegedly have been involved in the leak of the videos because she can't milk as much money out of that target. Potentially over 1,000 people have seen this post. In around the end of January 25, approximately 15 women reached out to plaintiff to tell her that they had received sexually explicit images from Bunnell of other women without the other women's consent. 3 of these women also tell plaintiff that Bunnell deleted their chat threads after January 23rd. Upon information and belief, multiple women, including Melina Goranson, who is Destiny's ex-wife, and Stacia, have recently come forward and publicly alleged that Bunnell has released sexually explicit videos of them without their consent. Upon information and belief, these images were then posted on different pornography websites without their consent. A woman with the screen name Cherry recently found out that Bunnell had secretly made an unauthorized audio recording of their sexual interaction and then had distributed it to multiple people without her knowledge or consent. Bunnell has retaliated against Cherry by publicly posting private messages during a time when she was suffering a mental health crisis. So this is kind of the other shoe to drop on the background before this lawsuit was filed, was that Cherry has also come out publicly But she's not filing a civil lawsuit. She's pressing charges. She's filed a police report and is seeking for Destiny to be prosecuted for basically the same facts. So yeah, so in fact she's getting a mention here, and also we're seeing the same pattern showing up again, that he's retaliating against her for going public by posting private messages, which essentially is the same claim that he's doing to Pxie, that she's gone public and now Destiny's retaliating, trying to accuse her of extorting him. She's just trying to milk him, etc., etc. On or about January 23rd, 25, Bunnell begins a smear campaign against plaintiff and tells his followers that plaintiff is only interested in getting money from him, as I just said. Over 1,000 of his followers could have seen this post. Also tells his followers that his only crime was being too much of a gooner. The word gooner is slang for someone who is deeply engaged in an excessive adult X-rated content consumption, sometimes in a compulsive or obsessive manner. I do like the legal justification, the legal definition of gooner. That's certainly... I look forward to them explaining to the judge in this case, a federal judge, in federal court, which federal court is very fancy. It's very official. There's a lot of prestige to the proceedings. And yet here we are, we're going to have the word gooner defined and explained. So yeah, certainly looking forward to that. Interesting here, though, that claiming he begins a smear campaign against her. It says she's only interested in getting money from him, but we don't have a quote. It's just a assertion. And look, it was over 1,000 people could have seen this post. So, but where's the quote of that? You're just saying he made a post, and you talk about the content of the post, but you don't actually have a quote. So that's kind of interesting, just the way that's worded, I guess. But anyway, on or about January 24th, another female political streamer talks about Bunnell sharing the video. She informs her followers that Destiny Bunnell had recorded conversation with her without her knowledge or consent. She alleges that after their personal relationship deteriorated, he became publicly hostile towards her, and then later he posted to his followers that he had recording and that he could publish it. Then on February 9th, after posting a link to a clip of her talking about sharing the video, Bunnell retaliated against her by posting private sexual text messages between them to his community chat group. Once again, same pattern, just it's rising up again, that relations start, sexually explicit things are done between the two, the relationship deteriorates, person goes public, speaking out against Destiny, and public retaliation results from his end. Paragraph 34. On or about January 26th, Hannah Brooke, a follower of Bunnell, contacted plaintiff and informs her that even after the video is publicized on November 29th, Destiny offered to send the videos to her. It was capital V videos, so these are the Pxie videos. A few days later, another follower posted Brooke's direct messages with Bunnell. After the messages go public, Bunnell deletes his messages with Brooke in an attempt to cover it up. Same pattern, once again. Defendant has admitted that he has disclosed the video to Rose, and there is evidence that he also disclosed it to other people without the plaintiff's consent. Defendant could have and should have expected that the videos would then be publicly disclosed and disseminated to hundreds or thousands of people online, which is exactly what foreseeably occurred. January 30th, Destiny admits that he had been actively deleting evidence of his wrongdoing, specifically his messages with multiple women who have claimed that he shared sex videos with them without the participants' consent. On or about February 8th, Bunnell posts on X that he agrees with another post that claims the plaintiff is extorting him. On or about February 9th, Bunnell makes another defamatory post on X, again telling his followers that plaintiff only cares about getting money from him. He also informs all of his followers that the video can still be seen on blank. The post has over 1 million views as of this date. Telling people where they can find the video that you're so ashamed happened to make its way onto the internet, that you're trying to deny all your culpability for, yet you're telling them where it can be found. That's really not good. This is just rule number 1 of defense lawyer work, is you tell your client to shut up, stop talking about the case, because otherwise this stuff's going to happen. You're going to get caught with your pants down over and over and over again, which seems to be what's happening in this case with Destiny, which, for as much as he talks about the law and understands the law, is surprising and funny to see that he seems to not understand how it applies to him. Lastly, the videos disclosed by Bunnell were of a private nature and were never intended for public distribution. Defendant's actions have caused plaintiff severe emotional distress, humiliation, and reputational harm. Plaintiff's career as a political streamer has been adversely affected, and her aspirations of being elected for office have been greatly diminished. Yeah, I can certainly see that. It'd be awkward to be trying to run for office when you've got this kind of stuff floating on the internet. It's very, very unfortunate for Pxie if that's what she wants to do. Okay, so that is it. That's the factual basis. We now get into the actual allegations of law, or we hear the facts. Now we have to understand the law as it applies to the facts, and yeah, because you add those two together, that's what gives you a case. So boom, count 1, violation of 15 USC 6851, the Intimate Image Protection Act. Plaintiff adopts and re-alleges allegations set forth in paragraphs 1 through 38 above as though fully set forth herein. Okay, that's just legal jargon. Basically, you have to re-allege all the things you've already alleged, and then essentially lay the facts, and then lay the law, apply the law to the facts. So that's what's happening here. Is paragraph 39 is essentially a stand-in for paragraphs 1 through 38. So next, paragraph 40, defendant knowingly and intentionally discloses sexually explicit videos without plaintiff knowledge or consent in violation of 15 U.S.C. 6851. Plaintiff is identifiable in the videos. Videos have been viewed by thousands of people, continue to be viewed by thousands. The leak of the videos by defendant and plaintiff's role in the videos has been discussed online by thousands of people. That's us again. Guilty once again. Oh, wait, there's no period at the end of that sentence. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Should have called me to look over this. As a direct result of defendant's conduct, plaintiff has suffered extreme emotional distress and harm to her reputation. All the above actions of the defendant violated the law, and accordingly, plaintiff is entitled to preventative and injunctive relief requiring the defendant to delete the videos, barring him from any further disclosure of the videos. So yeah, injunctive relief is an actual, it's going to be like a court order. It's an equitable relief. It's not a money relief. It's the court ordering that some action be taken or stop being taken. That's what she's asking for here, that the court order him to delete the videos and bar him from doing this again in the future. B, actual damages in an amount to be proven, or alternatively liquidated damages in an amount of $150,000, whichever is greater. C, punitive damages, so punitive, we're trying to punish him now for this conduct. And D, reasonable attorney's fees and costs. So, okay, so let's look at this law. Intimate Image Protection Act. Definitions, commercial, pornographic content. So we got our definitions. Civil action. Okay, a right of action. In general, except as provided in paragraph 4, an individual whose intimate visual depiction is disclosed in or affecting interstate or foreign commerce, or using any means or facility of interstate or foreign commerce without the consent of the individual, or such disclosure was made by a person who knows that or recklessly disregards whether an individual has not consented to such disclosure, may bring a civil action against that person in appropriate district court in the United States for relief as set forth in paragraph 3. Relief. General civil action, civil filed under the section, cover actual damages sustained by the individual or liquidated damages in the amount of $150,000, the cost of the action including reasonable attorney's fees, and the court may in additional order equitable relief. So that's what they were saying. And you can be anonymous. Okay. So yeah, this is very simply, actually, most federal laws are quite lengthy. This is actually pretty short, and it's very simply saying if intimate visual depiction is disclosed in or affecting foreign interstate commerce. That's the federal jurisdiction hook there that has to affect interstate commerce, which pretty much anything that goes on the internet is going to qualify for that. And without consent, so it's disclosed without consent. Kind of our two main elements here, and so that's what this section is all about. Is essentially proving that those elements are met based on the facts that have been alleged already. So seems pretty applicable. All right, count 2, violation of Florida Statute 784-049, sexual cyber harassment. Plaintiff adopts, re-alleges, blah, blah, blah. Okay, same jargon to reincorporate all the facts. 784-049-5 provides a statutorily created private right of action. So, okay, let's look at that. Where is subsection 5? An aggrieved person may initiate civil action against person who violates section following. Yep. Okay, injunctive relief, monetary. So, yeah. Citing directly to the statute, the subsection that creates the right of action, and then basically it sounds like it's going to be the same thing. It's dissemination without consent. As a defendant's knowing willful dissemination, sexually explicit videos of plaintiff to other people through electronic means without plaintiff's consent in violation of her expectation that the videos should remain private constitutes sexual cyber harassment under Florida statute. The defendant acted intentionally and or with reckless disregard for plaintiff's rights, causing plaintiff to suffer damages. Had no legitimate purpose. Tens of thousands of people have viewed the video on different platforms. Tens of thousands of people are aware of the defendant's release of the videos and have engaged in public online discussions with the defendant and video about the plaintiff. Once again, guilty. That's us. As a direct, natural, proximate, and foreseeable result of defendant's action. So this is causation language, basically saying the actions as alleged were the direct, proximate cause of the damages that resulted. This is the chain. This is the link that this has to exist for the recovery to be warranted. Plaintiff has suffered damage to reputation, emotional pain and suffering, mental anguish, anxiety, and loss of dignity. Once again, we're seeking injunctive relief, so same as before, a court order to stop doing what he's doing, and also damages, statutory damages, or alternatively actual damages for emotional distress, loss of income, medical expenses, and other damages. Plaintiff seeks attorney's fees and costs pursuant to statute. Plaintiff also seeks punitive damages. So once again, punitive. Oh, an amount no less than $1 million. We got Dr. Evil over here, the $1 million. Yeah, okay. Sounds like a lot of reiterating of the same stuff that led to the federal cause of action, but now we have the state cause of action. All right, count 3, intentional infliction of emotional distress. So this is a tort we've got here. It's common law. I don't expect to see a statutory hook or statutory violation. It's just going to be essentially a common law violation, or violation of elements is established under the common law. So plaintiff adopts, alleges, okay, once again, reestablishing our facts. 54, defendant's conduct of disclosing the videos without plaintiff's consent was either done intentionally or with reckless disregard to the probability of causing plaintiff emotional distress. Defendant acted in a way in which he knew or should have known that severe emotional distress would likely result. Defendant's actions were so extreme and outrageous, there we go again, extreme and outrageous, that they go beyond all possible bounds of decency and are intolerable in a civilized society. This sentence is essentially ripped straight out of a casebook as far as the language goes for approving IIED. So it makes sense they put it in there. Even after the defendant became aware that the plaintiff was expressing suicidal intentions due to his disclosure of the videos, he continued to disclose the videos to other people without plaintiff's consent. Yeah, if that's true, that's big as far as strength of the case. Because at the very least, Destiny could try and make the argument that when I shared this with someone, I was sharing it with another private person, and yes, that may have been wrong, but as far as the causing of all this damage that it caused, he had no intent to cause any of that, or there was not even a reckless disregard for that, because how could someone have possibly foreseen the extent of this mental anguish that Pxie was going to suffer just by the fact that he shared it with some Discord e-girl? Like, in Destiny's perfect world, in his vision, he would just share it with this girl, and that'd be it, and it would not get shared beyond that, and basically Pxie would never know. And so how can she be damaged by something she doesn't know? You can try and make that argument if you're Destiny. However, the argument is essentially moot when you've got the stuff has been published online, and yet you're allegedly still sharing it or offering to share it with other people. It just shows a total lack of, I guess, understanding of the effect that this is having on Pxie. So yeah, if that's big, if true. But once again, direct, natural, proximate, foreseeable results. So once again, causation language, connecting the duty and the breach, or the facts, to the actual damages. Result defendant's intentional harassment acts. Plaintiff has suffered damage. Okay, more damages. And once again, $1 million, what we're looking for. Because defendant's conduct was intentional and or recklessly indifferent, he is liable for punitive damages. So we got compensatory damages of $1 million and punitive damages of $1 million. This is that must have felt good to just put it down that one whole number, just $1 million. Very satisfying. Okay, count 4, invasion of privacy, public disclosure of private facts. Once again, going to be another common law violation, no statutory hook here. And readopting the facts, re-alleging them. Defendant publicly disclosed private facts considering plaintiff that were not of legitimate public concern, including the sexually explicit videos, without her consent. And defendant continues to do so to this day. There's no public concern that justifies disclosing sexually explicit images or videos of the plaintiff without her consent. At all times, the defendant acted intentionally and with reckless disregard for plaintiff's well-being. Defendant could have or should have expected public discourse to arise, or disclosure to arise, from this dissemination of the videos to various individuals. Public disclosure of the videos would be highly offensive to any reasonable person, including the plaintiff. Public disclosure of the videos took place such that tens of thousands of people have viewed the videos or are aware of the contents of the videos and a plaintiff's role in the videos. Plaintiff had a reasonable expectation of privacy in the video since they were taken with the intention for private use and not for public dissemination. Such disclosures have caused plaintiff extreme humiliation, distress, and emotional suffering. Plaintiff seeks compensatory actual damages, punitive damages, attorney's fees, and costs. Well, this count actually seems a bit weaker than the others, kind of based on the what I was just talking about Destiny's potential defense here. Is basically, there's a lot of focus here on the public disclosure, this word you keep seeing. Defendant could have or should have expected public disclosure to arise from this dissemination of the videos to various individuals. So here we're impugning essentially that Destiny should have had a reasonable belief that by sending these out to people, these videos, that they will eventually be disclosed to the public. But as we know from the facts of this case, the only reason any of this was disclosed to the public was because a hacker hacked into somebody who had the videos and then took them and posted them online. So Destiny might have a bit of an argument here to say it was not reasonable for Destiny to reasonably believe that him sending these videos out would result in a public disclosure. Don't know how strong that argument is going to be, at least fully. I think there is certainly more than zero merit to that argument. Whether it's enough to save the day for him, unlikely, I would think, but it's definitely not nothing. It's not something to be discounted entirely here. Anyway, all right. Last little bit. Wait. So prayer for relief. That means there's no more counts. So there's no defamation count. That's also very interesting here. The fact that the word defamatory and defame was used repeatedly throughout the factual basis to not then allege defamation seems a bit inflammatory for not really a good reason. It would seem from the way I'm reading this. Like if you're going to accuse him of defaming you, then charge him or allege or file a cause of action saying that, yeah, he also defamed you. To say that you've been defamed but then to not actually allege that you've been defamed is a bit odd. But either way, prayer for relief. Wherefore, plaintiff requests judgment against defendant as follows. 1, appropriate compensatory and statutory damages. 2, appropriate equitable and injunctive relief. Award punitive damages, reasonable attorney's fees, and for such others, further relief to which plaintiff may be entitled. Demand for jury trial. Plaintiff demands trial by jury of all issues triable as of a right by jury. And that's it. That is the full complaint. There's a lot going on. Unfortunately, I think for the people who've been following this case, there's not a lot new that's come out. This seems to be largely a reiteration of kind of the social media back and forth that's been happening. But I guess that does make it interesting, though, because usually, stuff on social media just gets blown so far out of proportion. But here we've got a lot of the same, I guess some new stuff about especially the continued disclosure of these videos after this all has gone public and the scandal broke out. Mr. Burnell apparently certainly has a lesson that needs to be learned, which brings me to my scale of 1 to 10. How cooked is Destiny here? Well, right now I'm going to go with a solid 8 out of 10. Of course, I'm curious to see what his answer is going to be because that's the next step in this process. This here is just a complaint. This is just one side of the story. Destiny's legal team will now file an answer where they go through each line of the complaint, each paragraph, and either say they admit to that allegation, they deny the allegation, or they don't have enough information one way or another to either admit or deny. So there's not going to be a lot of information that comes out of that from Destiny. Yeah, but as of now, unless he's able to pull something out like, right, the reason it's not a 10 out of 10 would be the only potential avenue of defense I can see so far is this claim that it was not reasonable for Destiny to assume that by sharing this video with other private individuals that it would then result in a massive public disclosure, unless he had reason to know that giving it to any particular person, that person was then going to go disclose it. But that's not what happened here because it was a hack, it was a leak. So that's the only potential avenue for defense I could see. That's what's knocking me down to an 8, but it is still a strong 8 out of 10 on the cooked scale. And we'll have to wait and see if Destiny is able to give us anything else as far as the defense goes. Beyond that, that's all I've got for this case. If you want me to keep following it, then be sure to let me know down below in the comments. Let me know what you think about this case. I'll be down there chatting it up with y'all like always. If you learned something interesting, learned something new, drop a like down below. And if you like this kind of content, talking about real-world criminal cases, well, really real-world cases generally, then be sure to drop a subscribe and come back for more. But that is all I've got for today's video, so I will see you all on the next one.